another exciting adventure of On the Bench. I think a few weeks ago I showed you this new guitar I had. It's an Epiphone Pro 1 and I've been playing it. I want to correct one thing that I said in the first video. This does actually have some binding on it. This is not painted on. The guitar is very well made for an entry level or budget guitar. I like it a lot. I like the way it sounds. It sounds beautiful, but I think I said in the last video that I was going to change the strings on it, and I have, and I've got 12s on it now, Didarios I believe, and one of the things I discovered was it looked like to me somebody had tried to modify this bridge a little bit, this saddle a little bit. It's kind of chipped up, and of course the nut for this really, I mean, you can put 12s on it, and I have, but they really stood up proud on the top, and it gave you a real high action, so I had to kind of file them down a little bit. So I ordered I'm going to order a new nut for it and a new saddle for it. So let's get this thing out on the bench to show you how to take the measurements. We'll make an order and we'll get them coming this way. Oh yeah, something I forgot to mention. Before I put the 12s on the guitar, I got a hold of Epiphone, aka Gibson, and the good folks there replied back in like, I don't know, a day or 2 days, and they said, yeah, no problem, but make sure you take it to a luthier or your shop and have it set up, because it will need a setup. So anyway, let's get out on the bench, let's get this thing going. And so here we are out here on the bench. So I'm going to measure this nut. And that appears to be 43 millimeter. And then the height of it appears to be about 6.5 millimeter. Of course, that's all gonna, I mean, that's relative. You can adjust that up or down as needed. And then the thickness, it's gonna be kind of hard to get, looks like it's about 6.2. See if I can get a little better. So that's what we're looking at for that. Let me write these down. And I had already made the measurements on this once before when I had it out. I knew I was going to replace that. It's about 73 millimeters. So let's go ahead and make an order. Get this stuff on the road. Well, let's see, PQ 9281. That looks like the saddle that's going to fit. Let's go ahead and put that in the cart. And we've got PQ 6143. And there it is. Let's put that in our cart. And we will check out, and these should be here in probably 2 days. $25.54. That's the right price. Once again, I'm not sponsored by anybody, but I really like the Graphtec Tusk brand of materials. So I've got the Tusk nut PQ 6143 and the Tusk saddle PQ 9281. Let's get these things installed today. And so here we are, and what I'm going to attempt to do is, well, I'm going to remove this first. Let's go ahead and get that off there. Interestingly enough, this truss rod cover is just cosmetic because there's nothing there. You actually adjust the truss rod down at the heel of the guitar. And what I'm going to do here, if you've never taken one of these off before, sometimes they just slide off. This one's not going to. This guitar has a pretty thick finish on it, so I'm going to take and I'm going to just very lightly cut along here, score. Actually, you're not cutting, you're just scoring very lightly and around it on all sides. And then typically what I'll do is I will take a small wood block and just tap it this way, or maybe even that way. And we've got some other tools we can use if we need to, so I'm not going to make you watch me do this. I'm going to go ahead and get started on this, then we'll take it off together. So we've got a couple different ways we can get this off. I'm going to take this here and kind of tap at it a little bit and then try to tap it out this way. We've also got this fret nipper. This is for removing, and I can also get that in there and kind of wiggle it if I need to. So let's see if we can just tap it out here. And let's see here, I've cut it a little bit more here. Oh, there we go, look at that. Came right out. And I just had a minimal amount of tear out here from the wood. So let's get that cleaned up and let's see if the new one fits. And when I look on the side of this nut, it says it is a 6143. So we did in fact order the correct nut for it. And then obviously this is the new one here. And if you line them up on top of each other, I mean, you can see that this is much deeper than that, even though I had cut that down some with a file. And this is much deeper than that, even though I'd cut that down with a file. And it's not, you also have to kind of angle it up like this some too, so you get the right string break. Anyway, let's clean this up a little more and put her in there. See, I got some 400 grit. I'm going to just very lightly sand that. Okay, very lightly. And then I've got this jeweler's lube, which you don't have to have, but I mean, if you do, you can sure. Yeah, that's pretty well cleaned all that up. And I've got some 600 grit, you know, where you can kind of just smooth that off. Because I'm going to put probably a drop of glue. Well, that's how this one was done. Just right in the channel here, just to kind of hold it. So I'm going to make sure I've got this kind of clean down in here also. So I can just get down in here and just kind of clean this out. A little bit of pressure on it. You don't have to watch that though. I'll be right back. Yeah, if you want to make sure this is really clean, dry, free of oil. Same thing with this part. And then what I recommend, test fit it up there. Ooh, look at that. Perfect. I always recommend just a drop of plain old Elmer's glue. You know, just get a drop of it on there. And the reason why I say that, and if you want to, you can get yourself a toothpick and kind of move it around a little bit. And the reason I say that is because you may take this to somebody, they may change your strings, or you might break a string during a show, and it's dark backstage there, and if you don't have something holding that nut on, chances are it's going to come off for you, you know. Okay, let's see if we can't get these out back over where they were. And then we'll start tightening her up a little bit. Probably be quicker with this. And again, I'm not going to make you watch this. So what you're going to want to do, just make sure you get these outside strings on and tight, little tension on them. And as I feel up from here, I can feel that needs to go that way a bit. So I want to get it about as centered as I can. And again, you can tell by feeling up this way. I can see that nut sticking out just a little bit on that one side, not much. And once you get it there, you know, don't be afraid to tighten her down. Hold it. Let's tune her up and see how she plays now. And I think you can see now that the way that the strings go into the nut and up over it, it's just a much better fit. Now this guitar is going to have to do a full setup because I believe I'm going to have to probably straighten the neck a little bit and then maybe even address the saddle. Well, that was pretty easy, folks. I mean, I really enjoyed doing that. We're going to have some more fun with this old guitar because I think we're going to put a new saddle on it next. We'll get that out. I've been even thinking about getting a pickup for it, you know. But in the meantime, I want to thank you all for hanging out with me. Remember, folks, if this is something you don't feel comfortable doing, take it to your local music store, your luthier, and have them work on it. But there's no reason why you can't do that yourself. Rock on.